Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Got a 1922 proof high relief matte finish coin.
Okay. Where did you get this?
I won it at a poker game, believe it or not.
This is like one of the holy grails of American coins, and you won it in a poker game.
Yep.
Whoa.
Came down to the pawn shop today to try to sell a 1922 proof coin. I don't know a lot about it, but the guy who lost it to me said it was really valuable. So hoping to get 20,000 out of it.
This is cool. In 1921, we brought the silver dollar back. And the story goes is they were going to try and make some really high relief ones. What this means by high relief right here is the image really comes off the coin. Okay, it's much higher detail. And I don't know the exact story, but there was like some problems and they got melted down. And most people didn't even know they existed for like 15 years. And then all of a sudden, some stories came from the mint that they actually existed. So there's like a dozen of these things in the world.
It's pretty rare.
Oh, well, it's beyond rare. The 1922 high relief peace dollar is one of the rarest coins in American history. It definitely shocks me that people will walk up to my counter and pull out an item worth $50,000 or $100,000 or more. I definitely want this thing, but I have to make absolutely sure this is the real deal. Silver dollars is what every coin collector collects. Everyone collects silver dollars, and maybe they collect half dollars and nickels, but they all buy silver dollars. I mean, that's the mainstay of collectible coins.
Okay.
So, how much do you want for it?
20,000.
What, you want 20 for it? 20,000?
Do you think it's worth
Yeah,
it?
sure, no problem. Let's go. No, this is worth a lot more than 20 grand.
Oh. That's pretty awesome.
Do you mind if I call a friend to take a look at this? I have a few mega concerns here, okay? I've never seen one in person, and I just want to make sure everything's legit. I mean, if someone was to fake a coin, this is the one they would do it on. I'm actually friends with a guy who works at NGC. He's one of the best coin graders, and if everything's legit, maybe we'll do some business. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, hang out.
All right. I think there's a good chance it's legit. Obviously, nothing in this world is 100%, but I'm happy with an expert coming in for sure.
Dave!
Rick, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely fabulous, and this is it. Oh.
Wow. It isn't every day a 1922 high relief peace dollar walks in the door.
This guy got in a poker game.
Oh my God. It's always nice to get called in on an exciting coin. This coin is particularly interesting, historical, and it's rare as hen's teeth.
Now, what exactly is the story with this coin? I mean, this was the coin the government minted, but no one knew they minted it for like 15 or 20 years?
That's correct. None of these had transacted until 1937. These were more or less unknown, and they carried over the high relief of the 1921 issues, all of which, by the way, were stuck in a one-week period at the end of 1921. The high relief design was sort of a triumph of art and a failure of technology because although they were beautiful, they couldn't strike them with enough pressure to get a lot of them out. So they ended up early in 1922 having to reduce the relief of the design.
Okay.
So I assume your main concern is it real?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
It is in an NGC holder, which is wonderful. The holder is completely intact and genuine. And the coin is perfectly legitimate. It's one of very few known.
Okay, so the big thing is, what's it worth?
One of these sold very recently that brought a touch over 100,000. It's a little bit nicer than this, but not too far apart. I think this coin is worth something north of 50, but less than 100.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Super rare, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, there you go.
All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good. I'm quite excited that this is the real thing. Very few specialists have had the chance to actually handle them, but finding one of these, especially walking into a pawn shop, is really extraordinary.
I should have just gave you the 20 grand and not called in Dave.
I'm happier now.
I'll give you $65,000.
What about 90? I think 90 is fair.
You were willing to take 20 grand for it.
You weren't willing to offer me 20 grand for it.
I think 75 is fair.
Meet me in the middle at 80, and you got a deal.
It's a deal.
All right.
Okay. All right, let's go up front. I'll write you up.
I made 80,000 on the coin. Super excited about it. Definitely gonna keep playing poker. Hopefully I get another coin like this sometime.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
What do we got? Looks like something fancy.
It's very fancy.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it definitely looks French. That's about my extent of knowledge on this thing. Let me grab my dad real quick.
Sure.
Pops, you want to come take a look at this for me?
What do you got?
Something's catching my eye on it. I just don't exactly know what it is.
Okay. Let's take a look. Oh, this is really fancy. Boutet or Boutet?
Boutet?
I'm not really good at pronouncing French. I'm not really good at pronouncing English.
I'm here at the pawn shop to try and sell my Boutet shotgun. I got this shotgun from my father. He was a collector of antique firearms. I'm getting rid of it now because my wife is getting tired of seeing it just mounted on the wall. It's rare, it's beautiful, and it's very, very well kept.
That's really, really nice. Boutet, he started doing this right around 1800-ish. He was like the Rembrandt of guns. I mean, before Boutet, there was the art, and then there was the function, and then this guy was like the first one to really combine the both of them. You had to be really, really wealthy to have a gun like this.
He was Napoleon's gunsmith.
Yeah, I think he was like an armorer for Napoleon. There was lots of these guns out there that were super inlaid, and they were made for royalty. But they really weren't that great of a gun because the royals were probably never going to fire it anyway. This is really fancy. That is gold inlay, or they would literally keep on pounding the gold into the steel till it stuck. This is burled walnut, hand checkered. All these pieces down here are really high quality steel, and high quality steel like this was really expensive to make. I mean, just everything about this is just like crazy quality. And there's probably some other stuff about it I don't know.
Should I give Alex a call?
Well, how much do you want for it? Because if he wants $50, I'll just give him that now and we'll...
Oh, it's not going for $50. I'm looking at 10 grand.
Okay. Yeah, give Alex a call. I mean, it's most likely worth at least that. It could be more. I just got a lot of questions on it, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'll call Alex.
They're bringing in an expert. And I think it's a really good idea because I'm guessing at what the value of this firearm is. And I'm hoping he will up the ante, period.
What do you think?
Holy moly. Can I pick it up?
Please.
This is stunning. So Boutet was the gunsmith in France in the 18th century and into the beginning of the 19th century. He was so good that he was the royal gunsmith to Louis XVI, who was the final king before the Revolution. And not only was he his gunsmith, but Napoleon made him his gunsmith. So the guy had a long career as basically the finest gunsmith, certainly in France, but many people would argue in the world.
Okay.
Let me just see the... So it's about probably a 50 or 60 caliber, which doesn't really mean anything in shotgun terms, but for people like today, you would say this is about a 20 or 22 gauge. It's muzzle loading, it's flintlock. I'd like to just see the... Oh, yeah. So what I'm doing there is just making sure that the springs are still good, and they certainly are. Yep, and so it's a double trigger. So one trigger fires one cock, the other fires the other. So you see Boutets in some of the finest museums in the world. There's a series of Boutets at the Met in New York. They are all over Europe.
So Basically, what we may have here is a one-off piece by one of the best French gun makers of all time.
The best French gun maker of all time, arguably the best gun maker in history.
Okay, any idea what it's worth?
So simple Boutets will start easily about $10,000.
Okay.
One like this, on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as decorative, this is about a 6. So they get very, very decorative. The one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to test it. If it fires how I believe it would, I'd be more comfortable evaluating it.
Do you mind meeting us out at the range with it so we can test it out?
Sure.
And we'll meet you out there, okay?
See you at the range, man. Let me grab a piece of paper. I'll write down the address for you.
Awesome.
I think my wife would get really mad if I came home and said, I saw a really nice Boutet at work today.
Hello, boys.
Hey.
Fun.
So the Boutet looks all polished up and ready to go?
The Boutet is shiny, yeah. One of the things I have found in this direct sunlight is actually the barrels are also marked. So this barrel is marked Boutet, and then the other side, it's marked manufactured in Versailles, and it has a serial number 322. So that actually might be traceable, which is really nice to see on the barrels. So
All right.
That's an added bonus. I brought some shot. I've got some F black powder. We're gonna load about 50 grains, which is a pretty light load for this, but just to be safe with it. And I set up some fruit targets.
Let's do this.
This shotgun is like a piece of art. Typically, I wouldn't fire this gun, but collectors search for firearms like this. And if it's successful, I do think it'll help the value.
All right, so I think I should shoot it?
I'll shoot it.
I have waited half of my life to shoot a Boutet. Let me try it.
Alex is gonna shoot it.
Okay. All right, here we go.
There we go.
That was good.
So it fires, it works, everything's perfect on it?
It functioned exactly as it should function. And I'm not surprised, because Boutet is the finest gunmaker of all time.
What do you think it's worth?
I think if this went to auction in this condition, I wouldn't be surprised to see it sell up for $30,000.
Damn. That much?
It's really nice.
Do you see the smile on my face?
All right, well, thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
Very welcome. And it was a pleasure, Dennis. Thank you for letting me fire it.
My pleasure.
All right. See
Nice
you guys.
meeting you.
Good luck.
Take care, bud.
All right, so you were asking 10. I'm assuming you want a little bit more now?
No, I want a lot more.
All right.
20. I think that's a pretty fair offer.
I'll give you 15 grand for it.
18.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 16 grand for it. And normally I'd pay you a little bit more, but something like this, I'm not gonna see money back for a year or two.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the level with you. It's a lot more than I thought I would get. We'll do 16.
All right, sweet.
All right.
All
buddy.
right, bring it back to the shop. We'll do some paperwork, and I'll get you paid. So, I now own a fine Boutet. Not that I haven't always had one.
It took you 50-something years to get one.
Hey, how's it going? What do we have?
We have a pottery duck from Colima, Mexico.
All right, Pops, you know anything about ducks from Colima, Mexico?
A little bit. You liked rubber duckies when you were a kid. Filled the bathtub up with them. He had a blast with them when he was like 3.
I'm at the pawn shop today to sell my old pottery duck. I got the duck from an antique shop in Scottsdale, Arizona, and ever since then, just weird things, happening around the house, and couldn't figure out what it was until everything started falling around the duck. So that's why I'm looking to sell it. I'm asking $4,000 for the duck because it looks pretty old. I mean, it does have magic powers.
I actually think it's kind of cool. It looks old. It looks like the pottery they made, like a couple thousand years ago. The indigenous people of Mexico were incredible artists when it came to pottery.
So, what do you think it was used for? Were you supposed to drink out of it or something?
It was probably something ceremonial. They truly believed that the animals, after you passed away, they would guide you to the next world. So that's why they did a lot of pottery with animals.
What religion is the duck in?
Probably an ancient religion that doesn't exist anymore.
Ever since I've had it, it's just some weird things have been happening around the house.
Well, what kind of weird stuff happens?
Well, things like fall off the shelves. I hear weird noises.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably not the duck's fault.
Now, the craftsmanship's amazing. You can still see, whereas in the kiln, burn marks and everything on the bottom. So it went into a kiln like this, and it came out with those beautiful finishes on it. I mean, if you looked at this from 3 or 4 feet away, it looks like wood. I mean, that's how beautiful they did it. I think it's kind of amazing. How much are you looking to get out of this?
About 4,000.
Okay, it's got me intrigued because it could be very, very old. But it's in incredible condition, which is kind of scary. Because usually there's chipped and, you know, if it's 2,000 years old, like, you know, you have kids playing with it and everything.
Any place you go in Mexico, there's like, you know, counterfeit versions of stuff like this.
I'd like someone to look at it, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Can you give Bob a call? I have a friend who will know a lot about this. All right?
Hang on, I'll be back in a little bit, okay?
I'm hoping the expert can value it to my asking price because I want to get rid of it.
What's up, Bob? How you doing?
Hi there, how are you? That is quite the duck. I can tell you a couple things about it. 2,000 years ago, they made animals to go into a tomb, and they'd lay the body and they'd place these animals around. All of the animals that they would put in the tomb had a function. They'd be companions, they'd be spirit guides, but most of them were to be eaten in the afterlife. A big fat duck like this was going to be somebody's dinner in the afterlife. It would have only gone to somebody fairly important. And this form, very rare. Can I take a look at it?
Yeah, go right ahead.
One of the things that I'm noticing, it's got the burnishing lines, so they would use a stone, and they would polish this extensively before it would go in the kiln. Got nice manganese blooms, but I see a repair here. I see that there are repairs in the body. They're almost invisible, so whoever restored this, they did a fabulous job.
So you think this is 100% real?
Yeah, 100% real, 300 BC to 300 AD, ancient.
So what's it worth?
It's authentic, it's old, it's rare, it's stunning. 8,000.
Okay.
You're not gonna whip out like your X-ray machine or anything on it?
I don't need to. It's got all the signs you want to see.
Well, Bob, I appreciate you coming down.
My pleasure. It's amazing to see anything that's 2,000 years old, but it was in a tomb that has been protected from the elements and the ages. So of all of the ancient cultures, Colima seemed to survive the best.
So you want 4,000 for it? Okay, I mean, I give you 4 because it does take a long time to sell it.
Okay, awesome.
right.
Please.
You want to go right her up?
All right, luckily I'm not superstitious, so I'll meet you up over there.
All right.
And he's going to pay her in $100 bills.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How can I help you?
So I am trying to sell this leather biker jacket. I'm thinking it's from either World War I or World War II. I just don't really know much about it.
All right. Is your Harley parked out front?
Oh, yeah. I'm at the pawn shop today to try to sell my vintage leather biker jacket that I believe is from either World War I or World War II. I'm hoping to get $1,000 for this jacket, especially since vintage clothing is coming back and the jacket is in such good condition. If I make the sale today, I'll probably save some of the money, give some of it to my dad, and maybe buy him a new record player.
The jacket's really cool. So where did you get it?
I found this when I was cleaning out closets in my house. My dad has always collected vintage leather jackets, and this one was just in there.
Well, it's definitely a cool jacket. All right, let's take a look at it here. All right, we definitely got leather. It's showing some good age that leather would show as well. It's got the word Mac on the front, which maybe was a name. It has the airborne patch on it with the eagle right there. And then the other patch over here, it says Allied Airbornes. Some writing on the back. And the battered bastards of Bastogne. So I definitely do agree with you. A wartime jacket, probably from the 40s or whatnot. But looking at the patches, I don't think this would have been like a motorcycle jacket. This looks like it would have been maybe like a pilot's jacket or something like that. I have some concerns though. I don't feel like the writing and the patches match up with the cut of the jacket. Looking at this jacket, it's cut more in the style of a European jacket. An American jacket would have come down more, kind of more flat. This is more typical of a European cut. How much are you looking to get for it?
I was thinking 1,000.
I mean, that's not out of the question. Honestly, if it checks out, I could probably give you more than 1,000 for sure and still leave room to make some money.
That would be great.
But I have some questions about this jacket. Can I have someone come down and take a look at it? They specialize in, you know, military memorabilia. You have a little time to wait?
Yeah, for sure. No problem.
Give me just a few minutes. I'm gonna make a phone call and get someone down here.
Okay, no worries. My main concern is that we don't know the history behind the jacket, so it could be fake and not worth anything.
Well, here's Alex.
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you.
He should know a lot more about this jacket than you or I.
Okay, perfect.
Wow. There's a bunch going on with this jacket. The battered bastards of Bastogne, that's referencing the Battle of the Bulge. The 326th jumped at Normandy, and the Eagle is of the 101st Airborne Division. If you're gonna have something from World War II that is referencing an American victory, it's Bastogne or Normandy, but this is both. This jacket has some really cool history. The battered bastards of Bastogne. So these guys were surrounded by the German troops, very little ammunition, very little food, no winter clothing, December and January 1944 and 45. The German commander at the time sent a letter to the American commander demanding their surrender or they were going to be annihilated, and the American commander just wrote one word back: nuts. From that point on, the German troops retreated all the way to the final end of the war. Now, you don't see anything like this often. It's actually really classic German pilot leather jacket. A Luftwaffe pilot would have had this. It's got that high crop. So the way this would have come about is an American soldier would have captured the German pilot and taken his jacket, and then essentially he made this a memento of the war.
So I know that these are faked often. What are the steps we can take to figure out if this jacket was painted wartime?
All right, so we start here and zoom in. Now, you can see here on this A and B, you see all that spidering of the paint? And you see how the leather itself has little peaks and valleys? If it were newly painted, you would see the paint inside all the little valleys and nooks and crannies. And so I am completely sure that that paint is authentic to the World War II period.
How much is it worth?
It's a one-of-a-kind piece, and it is fantastic. I would not be surprised to see this thing sell at $12,000.
Wow.
All right, well, thanks for coming down.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Yep. See you, chum.
All right, I'll give you $1,000 for it.
Well, now that we know it's worth a lot more than that, what do you think about raising the price?
As cool as it is, when you're talking about, you know, $12,000, it's gonna take a very special person to buy this. I just don't think that it's a good fit for me right now. Put this in an auction, you'll probably get the $12,000, maybe even more, and you can come back and thank me later.
All right, well, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. I'm pleasantly surprised that the expert told me the jacket is worth $12,000. I hope to jack it up and sell it online.
What can I help you with?
I have a watch here.
Okay. Apparently it's an old watch.
I hope so.
Where did you get it?
A garage sale.
Really cool watch. Do you mind me asking what you paid for it?
$20. I came into the pawn shop today to try to sell my antique pocket watch. I'd like to sell it because I don't collect pocket watches. If I get 500, if I get 800, I'll be happy. Anything works for me.
Do you know much about it?
I don't know anything about it. I just discovered it and it looked cool. So.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about it.
That'd be great.
It's a William Ellery. That's an American watch company that later became Waltham Watch Company. Abe Lincoln actually carried a Waltham watch.
Wow.
This is absolutely amazing back here. Earl Butler Hero saved my life at Cross Keys, Robert M. Scott. That's,
Something good?
that is something good. I'm assuming that's the Civil War. The watch is probably 1870s, 1880s. Pretty easy to date them. First off, it's a key wind and a key set. By the 1890s, they were almost all going to stem winds. That would make it right around the right time period. It has to be the Civil War. You just increase the cool factor by like 10 times, okay? Because this actually belonged to a Civil War veteran,
Okay.
okay? That was given to that person by another Civil War veteran.
Okay.
who saved his life at Cross Keys, which I'm assuming was a battle. One of the greatest gifts you could give in the 19th century was a pocket watch. Imagine someone gave this to a friend who saved his life during the Civil War. I have never seen anything like it. Do you know if it runs?
No.
It's wanting to work. It's working?
That's positive, right?
Yes, I mean, the great thing about this watch is it's in amazing shape. It works great. The case is in amazing condition. We have a porcelain dial on it that doesn't have one crack. These things are notorious for cracking. There's a huge market for Civil War stuff, and a pocket watch in this condition with engraving on the back could be worth a fortune. Collectors would line up out the door to buy this thing. I mean, this has got me really fascinated right here, though. I'd really like to find out who these people are. These could be important people from the battle.
Okay.
I'd like to find out more about the battle. I have a buddy who knows just about everything there is to know about the Civil War. There's something special here. You might have a lot more money.
Okay.
All right?
Great.
I'll be right back.
Thanks. Since he's calling in the expert, that must mean something good. I hope so, anyway.
How you doing?
Mark, how's it going?
Doing all right. The guys normally call me down here when they've got an historical artifact.
I have this watch here, and the engraving says that it's from the Battle of Cross Keys.
The Battle of Cross Keys was an interesting one. This was early on in the Civil War, and this was Stonewall Jackson, one of the best-known generals on the southern side, and Cross Keys was one of the battles with Union forces, and the Confederates had about 5,800 men in this battle. The Union side had over 11,000 men in this battle, and the Union lost.
Were you able to find out anything about those names or anything like that?
Well, there are a number of Robert M. Scotts out there. There are a number of Earl Butlers out there. They don't show up in the historic record individually that I could find.
I mean, the watch is really cool. I mean, it seems like it's from the right time period and everything like that. Do you think it's legit?
Okay, do you mind if I take a closer look at it?
Please.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The time period would be probably the late 1880s, so the name on it and the serial number both fit. That's all good. And if you were going to fake a piece like this, you would pick a battle that everybody's heard of. You know, it'd be, thanks for saving my life at Gettysburg or something.
Yeah.
And that the engraving is all hand done. In looking at it, I think that this appears to be correct to me. I think it's a very nice memorial from the Civil War. You know, this is somebody in post-war years and said, I want to say thank you. Hopefully that helps.
Thanks, man.
Not a problem.
Thank
you very much.
What do you want for it?
2,000.
I mean, the two people on there are really not known. So, $700.
But the battle's known. 1,800.
If it didn't have that engraving on it, is literally worth $400 or $500. Let me give you $1,000 for it.
Come on, you're gonna make a profit either way. How about 15?
I just don't know what I'm gonna get out of it. I'll go 1,300, not a dime more.
13 will work.
Okay, 1,300.
All right.
I'll meet you right up front over there.
All right, thanks. Bought it for $20, and I'm walking out with $1,300. I'm ecstatic. I couldn't be happier.
Hey, how's it going? Good. How you doing? I brought you some autographed Hollywood postcards from the 1950s. We have Babe Ruth.
Whoa. The Great Gambino. It's Bambino.
Oh. The collection is over 250 vintage Hollywood autographed postcards. Some of them are hard to read. Some of them have really bad penmanship. I am hoping to get $2,500 for it today, and I think I'll take around $1,000.
Let's start here. Where did you get them?
My great uncle was a grip in Hollywood in the 50s, and he would have them sign them and then send them to my mom, and she gave them to me.
Okay, he must have done this for a long time, judging by this day.
A good while, 1948 all the way up to 56.
This is incredible. We got John Wayne, Lucille Ball. I can understand it, you know, how we would be able to get them. An actor's less likely to say no to an autograph if they have to work and see somebody every day.
It looks like most of them were personalized. What was your mom's name?
Susan.
Susan? Okay.
Some are a little more than others. Some are just, to Susie or good luck or best wishes.
All right. God, who else do you have?
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, Elizabeth Taylor. Did you know she was born with some disease where she was covered from head to toe with hair? Some people are just born with this. Luckily, all hers fell out after a few weeks of being born. But could you imagine if Elizabeth Taylor was the hairiest woman on the planet?
That's Dean Martin right there.
And the list just goes on and on. Gary Cooper.
We have Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis.
Vincent Price. Lauren Bacall.
It's been a while since something left me speechless. What you have here is really, really amazing. I don't even know where to start. Normally, I get someone bringing in a signature, not this many at one time.
The thing with this collection is that there's so many of them. I don't know if some, all, or none of these are real. And if they are real, I don't know if they're worth more than the others. Without knowing a bit more, I don't know how to price this.
Before we go any further, how much do you want for them?
I was thinking $2,500 for all of them.
Okay, basically, I need to make sure your uncle wasn't just trying to impress your mom every couple months by sending her one of these.
Understandable.
You mind if I call someone in to take a look? He's probably one of the best signature experts you're gonna get.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, my man.
When it comes to celebrity autographs, this guy might have a gold mine on his hands, or it could be a huge pile of white lies from his uncle. Either way, $2,500 is a lot of money, so I'll let Steve be the judge.
Earlier, a guy came in with a huge collection of celebrity signed postcards from the 1940s and 50s. I'd never seen a collection quite like it, so I called up my buddy Steve to come down and take a look. Hopefully, he'll be able to tell me if they're legit and what they're worth.
That's like a pretty crazy assemblage here.
This guy has over 250 autographs from the 1940s and 50s.
Wow.
So far, it's everything from Babe Ruth to Marilyn Monroe.
It's pretty rare you see like a, just a whole collection like this. Obviously this wasn't gotten overnight or whatever. I mean, it's a massive stack. Tell me a little bit about the history.
My uncle was a grip in Hollywood during this time, and he would have them sign it to Susie or Susan, my mother, and then he would address to her in Brooklyn and send it to her. And that went on for about 8-10 years.
Was it just sitting like in a shoebox packed away in a closet somewhere?
It was sitting in a shoebox for as long as I can remember.
You took it out of the shoebox, you put it in these containers, and here we are today.
That's it.
Wow. I mean, I'm kind of blown away by all this.
And just the fact that they're all dated.
Yeah.
That makes it great.
I mean, actually, I think that's probably the more cool thing, the dates on each one. That's pretty awesome. I mean, you could chart these things exactly to when they were signed. It's okay if I have a look through some of this? Okay.
Please do.
All right.
Maybe you'll be able to recognize some of them.
You guys know who this is?
Jimmy Stewart.
That's Jimmy Stewart.
Liberty Valance.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life, one of the most famous actors of all time. Do you guys know who that is?
Paul Newman.
We're talking about the dressing, Paul Newman?
Yeah, the dressing, the salsa. But the great actor Paul Newman, one of the toughest autographs to obtain in person. There's no doubt that his uncle was pretty well liked on the set to be able to approach someone like Marilyn Monroe, Babe Ruth. I mean, this guy must have been really popular. Whoa. You guys know who that is?
Marlon Brando.
I mean, this is about one of the strangest guys you're ever gonna come across and one of the best actors of all time. Back in his later years, I mean, I'm talking like 80s, 90s, if you were lucky enough to approach this guy in the street and even ask for his autograph, he used to give you a set of trivia questions you have to answer. And if you answered one wrong, didn't matter, you wouldn't get his autograph. But if you got all 5 right, he'd sign for you. But with Marlon Brando, when he signed, especially later in life, it was like instant gold. I'm seeing some great names in here. Susan Hayward, Joe DiMaggio. It's pretty amazing. I just keep pulling more and more and more. It's just an amazing assemblage. I mean, we're looking at a bunch of deceased celebrities, stuff that you're not going to get signed anymore. And the most important thing to collectors, that's a vintage dated signature. And that's a really big deal.
So, Steve, what do you think? What do we got here?
I think you've got a pretty phenomenal collection here, if it all checks out. I don't need the Pro Scope today. I mean, I could tell, we've got real writing on this. It's all different kinds of ink. I want to be able to go through my examples, figure out what's here, figure out if anybody, by any chance, if there's a secretary signing for somebody that day.
Okay.
But the bad thing is I can't tell you right now. You guys got time today? Is that all right?
I got you, my man. Whatever you need. If you want to borrow Chumley or the conference room, whatever you need, I know it's a lot to ask. Do you mind?
No? Be my guest?
Okay.
Right on. You might want to grab some lunch or something, because it's going to be a minute, man.
Okay.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Good.
So, what do you think?
This stuff is all no good. It was a big waste of my time to stand here and go through this stuff. I mean, that's the unfortunate part about it.
Really?
No. Actually, it's probably one of the best collections I've ever seen.
Awesome.
Yeah. I can't tell you how rare this stuff is. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Elvis Presley, but he's here too. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, Elvis Presley made an appearance in here. Great example. The guy's not an autograph guy. He didn't get him in person, so he really had no idea that someone like Elvis Presley was just sitting at the bottom of the stack. That is incredible. Frank Sinatra. Do you even know Frank Sinatra was in here?
No. No, I
See,
didn't.
you're learning something new every day.
Yeah.
For 1954, this is at basically the height of Frank Sinatra. Babe Ruth, the great Babe Ruth. This one I really enjoyed a lot. It's dated May 3rd, 1948. You know, 3 months later, Babe Ruth was dead. The great thing about this Ruth signature is in ballpoint pen. Babe Ruth had a heavy hand, liked to sign in fountain pen. Now, I've had a chance to certify 3,000, 4,000 authentic Babe Ruth signatures in my time at PSA. I've seen maybe 10 sign a ballpoint pen. That's how rare they are.
Wow.
Well, he came in here wanting $2,500 for all of them. What do you think they're worth?
That's pretty good. But an amazing collection. When I look at the signatures in here, it's pretty crazy. We're talking Humphrey Bogart, I saw Boris Karloff, Jerry Lewis, Willie Mays. I could just keep going on and on. You're looking at anywhere from about $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow. Still on $2,500?
No.
I really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime, Mac. Usually, I am the guy who gives the bad news. So today, I gave some good news, and it felt really good.
So we found out a lot, my man. What do you want for him now?
Start at 8,000 then?
I'm gonna be really honest with you. I'm gonna get a lot of money for these when I sell them. But it's gonna take years, and it's gonna take money. As great as it is to have Babe Ruth's signature, it's really hard to sell it on a postcard in a stack. You know, it's gonna have to be displayed, put it in a frame. I mean, we're talking, it's gonna cost me $200 to $300 for each one of these I sell. You wanted $2,500. I'll give you $6,000. You gonna take $6,000?
Yeah, I think so. That works. I'm sure my mom will be really surprised that we got $6,000 for it. Although, I might keep it a secret.
Hey, can I help you?
Hello. Yes, actually, I have this.
All right. Are you a stamp collector?
I'm not, but they do appear to be very valuable. They're extremely old.
All right. The stamp that lost us the American colonies. Stamp of 1765 issues in accordance with the Greenville Stamp Act in the attempt to tax the American colonies. Oh, wow. I think this is a stamp in relation to the Stamp Act. Too bad my boss isn't here, because he would really want to nerd out on this right now.
I'm here to sell some old stamps that I have. They're definitely unique. I know they're not like the stamps that we use today, that's for sure. I'm asking $250 for the stamps. I feel like they're worth some value because of how old they are.
This is pretty cool. I mean, basically what the Stamp Act was is the British Parliament deciding that all British citizens need to pay a paper tax, whether they lived on this continent or in Britain. So they imposed this Stamp Act of 1765. And if you lived on this continent at the time, it wasn't America. Everyone was from England. So you still had to pay that tax. And this little stamp right here had to be on every single piece of paper, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, there was some type of legal consequence.
Oh, wow. It says America on it, too, actually, on here.
American colonies, yeah. We weren't quite America yet. This is right before, you know, we fought the Revolutionary War to become free. They're pretty interesting. They almost look embossed. They kind of look royal, you know? It kind of looks like something the British Parliament would make. It's these deep blue colors. How much are you looking to get for it?
I'm thinking probably like $250.
Well, normally I'd just go get my boss, but he's not gonna be back for a few hours. If you have a few minutes to hang out, though, I can call my buddy, and he knows the value of all this kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple minutes.
It could be worth a lot of money.
I'd like to hear what the expert has to say because I'm confident they're valuable, but I'm not exactly sure how much. I'm just taking a wild guess on this.
So, this is what I called you about? I thought it was pretty interesting, but Rick wasn't around, and I figured even if he was, he'd call you down anyways.
He would love this. Yes, you're right. These are really, really interesting. This is something that a collector has put together who collected British revenue stamps. These ones up here are from the 1694 series, which was for general use by the British. However, this one here appears as a stamp issued by the British in line with the Stamp Act. Well, the Stamp Act was a way for the British Crown to raise money in the colonies in America. Remember, they had just come out of fighting the French and Indian War. They emerged victorious, but it was very expensive, and they wanted to recoup some of that money. So they came up with a Stamp Act, which specifically targeted the Americas. It mainly affected items on paper, although it also affected dice. I mean, who knew?
No gambling without a tax.
Exactly. I'll make sure it says America. The British issued all sorts of revenue stamps in the 18th century. If it says America, we're in business. Yes, it does. Yeah, this one says America. This is wonderful. So this is an important stamp.
Seems like there'd be a lot of these if you had to stamp it on every piece of paper.
You would think it was a relatively short-lived act. It was introduced in 1765 and just a few months later repealed. So there wasn't a lot of opportunity for their use.
What kind of value would you put on it?
Well, the basal value is about $400 or $500 if you're buying it in a stamp auction. But this also has some other stamps. I think to any advanced collector, it's easily a $1,000 item.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, appreciate it.
All right. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like someone's happy with what they heard.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm working with 1,000 now. How does that sound to you?
It sounds like a little too much to me. Would you take $450?
$450. That, I think maybe if it was just these, but...
What are you thinking?
Well, I don't want to sell them for half what they're worth, so how about $650?
You think you could do 600?
I don't think so. That's a little too low. That's almost selling them for half what they're worth.
250 to 650, huh?
I could just take them back with me.
I really want to show them to my boss, so I'm gonna make a deal. $650.
$650.
All right. Meet me right up here at the counter.
Okay.
I'll take these.
I'm leaving here with $650 for those stamps, and that's more than I was looking for, and that's awesome.